each of you come in this moment. Go ahead, tell us where you're shouting from, tell us how you're feeling. We're going to have a great conversation tonight, and you're going to learn a lot from our guest speaker. If you're coming in, this right here is the New York Urban League's Young Professionals Join Week. What is Join Week, you may ask? It's that week that's just for you, where you get to learn about a beautiful organization that will help you through your professional career, whether it's through mentorship from other amazing young professionals, or even you being a mentor to a Whitney M. Young Scholar. There are so many opportunities that are here for you with the New York Urban League. So we'll be getting started in literally 30 seconds, but as you come in, keep on typing. I see Kendall Monk saying she's from Queens. What up, Kendall? I see Courtney saying, smile for the screenshot camera. I got you. Are you ready? Let's keep moving. Who else is on? Jasmine Crisp is saying, hey, C. I see a lot of Queens. Eunice is in the building. What's up, President McCoy? We see you. And so many others. Yes, yes, and yes. I'm so excited to have you guys here with us tonight. In 20 more seconds, we'll be starting. Maisha Boyd said from Connecticut, but currently living in Brooklyn. What's up, Maisha? Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We love you. So again, we'll be starting in about 10 seconds. Shai Coleman said, showing love to the hometown favorite from Brook City, Newark. Come on, Newark. Newark is in the building. And if anybody else wants to go ahead and type where they're shouting from, I'd love to see that. Once again, where you're at is the New York Urban League Young Professionals Join Week. There's so many amazing events happening through the week. What's going to happen right now is that's going to pop up on the screen so that we can just tell you exactly what's going on in the week so that you can see it and hear it and join us for those particular things that we'll be doing that will help you. So I'll go ahead and start with some of the things that are happening. Tonight, you are here with Couch Conversations with the Budgetnista. That'll be starting in about a minute. On Thursday, we have Pride in Action, where we're talking about political allyship in the Black community. An amazing conversation that you don't want to miss. On Saturday, February 13th, the I Am King Symposium will be happening with a fellow YPer, which will be amazing. On Saturday at 4 p.m., Self-Love Lounge will be going on. So if you want to get into that self-love, if you want to be loving on yourself, guess what? That is for you. And then last but not least, on Sunday, the Flavor of Love, a virtual cook-along and celebration will be happening as well. So yes, just because we might be shut in because of COVID in this moment does not mean that we're shut out of Join Week. Yes, that was a bit churchy, but hey, sometimes you just have to go there. Once again, on the screen, you see Join Week. I see a lot of people still typing in. If you have not registered, make sure to visit the link tree, which is basically link.tree, NYULYP, so that you can sign up. If you have questions about YP membership, you can post your questions in the chat or DM one of the leadership persons who are here in this moment. So I think it would just be best for me to go ahead and get this program started to quickly introduce myself. I am the one and only Julius J.U. Jones, known as your Professor of Positivity. What do I do, you may ask? I help you live life and believe in possible, one post of inner podcast at a time. And today's event is Join Week with the New York Urban League's Young Professionals, where I am pleased to be here with you in this moment. Before we start, I'm a firm believer of starting your moment, starting your time, starting your place with intention. And so this is the moment where we can dial back just for a second. This is the moment where you can just go inside and breathe. In this moment, you are alive. Breathe. In this moment, you are here. Breathe again. In this moment, you are love, you are peace, and you are joy abound. This is where you breathe again. Yes, this season may have been hard for many of us. Yes, this season might have brought many challenges, but guess what? You are here. Ambrose Redmond once said, courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. And so in this moment, in this time, in this space, I promise you that your life is moving forward. And in this moment, you're going to learn so much from Tiffany, the Budgetnista, today. So without further ado, after you continue to breathe, because we're still doing that, right? I want to know one thing. If you had an amazingly beautiful, wonderful day, I need you to flood that chat box right now with ones. If your day was amazingly beautiful and wonderful, hit that one and let me feel you in this moment. We are family, and just because we're on this screen does not mean that we are not together. Just as we say in church, just because the church doors are closed doesn't mean that the church is closed, amen? And just because New York Urban League's doors might be closed on the outside, right here, you are with us on the inside, digitally, feeling all of this energy. So thank you so much for all the ones you're typing in. I'm excited that you guys are in the building. And without further ado, I'm excited to go ahead and introduce our amazing, wonderful, beautiful guest speaker for tonight. So, to talk about it, Tiffany the Budgetnista is an award-winning teacher of financial education and is quickly becoming America's favorite personal financial education. The Budgetnista is also an Amazon first best-selling author of 1 Week Budget and the Live Richer Challenge series. Through her company, The Budgetnista, Tiffany has created a financial movement that has helped over 1 million women worldwide collectively save more than $150 million. You heard that right, over $150 million, and pay off over $100 million in debt, purchase homes, and transform the way they think about their finances. These women that participate in this global movement call themselves dream catchers. Tiffany credits her experience as a preschool teacher for 10 years in Newark, New Jersey, for defining her purpose behind the Budgetnista education. In 2019, Tiffany transformed her commitment into legislation when she partnered with Assemblywoman Angela McKnight to write a bill that was later signed into Law A1414, the Budgetnista law, as we call it. This law made it mandatory for financial education to be integrated into all middle schools in New Jersey. So you can go ahead and clap it up for that. Go ahead, put some clapping emojis for actually using the power of voice and being Black history, because that right there is amazing. To further her mission, Tiffany has created and teaches numerous financial classes, both online and in person. Her signature courses is her annual, Live Richer Challenge, with over 900,000 women participating in one or more of her challenges. She also has blogs about personal finance for the Huffington Post and the Budgetnista blog. She co-hosts an award-winning podcast, Brown Ambition, and has an online school, we're not done, we're almost there, and has an online school, the Live Richer Academy, that teaches over 27,000 plus members how to create, implement, and automate their own financial educational path. Ladies and gentlemen, all my beautiful students of life, as I call you, let's go ahead and welcome Tiffany the Budgetnista. Tiffany, what's up?
Thank you so much for that awesome intro, Ju. I appreciate you. Bars. Y'all. So thank you for coming tonight. School's about to be popping tonight. Oh, school's popping. Talking about my Live Richer Academy. Awesome. No, but honestly, tonight, if those of you who know me know that I was a school teacher and educator for over 10 years. I'm still an educator, just in a different way. So if you don't have a pen, I'm a notebook girl, you might want to call someone to go bring you one, because you're really going to learn some things tonight. And so I'm going to share my messy screen and we're going to get to it. All right. So anybody who knows me, I'm also not super techie. Okay. Y'all can see it. Y'all can see it. Just give me a little nod. Yes. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to talk about today the 10 steps to financial wholeness. So has anybody ever heard of financial wholeness before I said it? Let me know in the comments. Yes, no, maybe. And don't say yes, because I made it up. That was a trick question. Financial wholeness is something that I created because I got frustrated with what folks call financial freedom. So I just felt like it was an incomplete aspiration, if you will. And quite honestly, financial freedom, which typically means like this pile of money that you're not gonna, meaning that you won't have to work anymore, will either happen way later in life for most people, or they may never get there. So it's really exclusive, meaning it's just for a small group of folks, whereas financial wholeness is for everyone. And even if you did get that pile of money, there's more to your financial life than that. I really wanted to encompass all aspects of your financial life for you to be successful there. So that's why I came up with financial wholeness. So some of you, before we got here, you got the opportunity to take the financial wholeness quiz. Did you take the quiz? If you did, share in the comments what your score was. There's no judgment. Let me know your score. Okay, 30%, 70%, I see 50%, 50, 50. Okay. If you didn't, it's like a 2-minute quiz, 40%. That's okay. There's no judgment on it. 70, 60, 100%. Okay, I see some of y'all with 100%. So the reason why I kind of wanted you to know your quiz, because your score, is because we're going to go over some of the financial wholeness components today. Well, really all of them, and then you can see what you need to lean into. So let's get started. All right. So what is financial wholeness? It is when the 10 aspects of your financial life that work together for your greatest good, your biggest benefit, and your richest life. It means that you have a plan for every area of financial life, not just your pile of money, but income, budget, savings, debt, credit, investments, retirement, insurance, net worth, and estate planning, right? It also means finding financial experts you can rely on for advice to avoid making poor financial choices. There are 10 steps, and I'm going to walk you through each one. It's really important that, like I said, you have this holistic view of your personal finances versus the singular view. So my financial wholeness story started 10 years old, grew up in a household where I got to learn about money, mostly from my father, who was a CFO and an accountant. This is me when I used to teach preschool. I actually was closer to financial wholeness here than the other Tiffany. The other Tiffany was maybe, I want to say, 5 years ago. The preschool teacher, Tiffany, she had her budget. She had her savings plan. She had an appropriate for her age. I think I was like 26 or 27 here, an appropriate for her age insurance policy and estate plan. And then the recession hit in 2008, decimated me financially because I lost my job due to the recession. And the one aspect of financial wholeness I didn't have was there was nobody for really, I didn't lean into the financial experts in my life. And so I made a bunch of mistakes and lost everything that I'd built. And so as a result, the Tiffany in the green, this is Tiffany probably like 5 or 6 years later, was terrified of her finances. And although she accumulated a lot of money, she was not whole at all. She had the money, but nothing else. And it was then that an aha moment came up and said, you know what, Tiffany, like, this quest for financial freedom is incomplete. You don't have the proper insurance. You don't have an estate plan. You don't have financial experts that you can lean into outside of your father. You don't have these other aspects of your financial plan that you need. And so I realized then that financial wholeness has nothing to do with how much money you make, what you do for a living. And it doesn't have anything to do with any of those things. It's about these 10 components and making sure you're in alignment based upon where you currently are in life. So let's go over what those 10 steps are. All right, the 10 steps to financial wholeness. And let me know in the comments which one you think you likely right now have the most trouble with. 1 through 10, which one? Just let me know. So step 1, budget building. 2, saving. 3, digging out of debt, not necessarily debt free. 4, your credit. 5, learning to earn. 6, investing for both retirement and for wealth. 7, insurance. 8, growing your net worth. 9, your money team, having financial professionals in your corner. And 10, your estate plan. All right, 9 and 10. I'm just looking 9 and 10. Oh, I see a lot of 9 and 10s. 2, 6, 10. Okay, good. All right, so let's get started. First things first, when you're creating a budget, you are going to ideally create a semi-automated budget. This is kind of how you know that you've reached financial wholeness, at least partially in this category. So if you like screenshots, I do, take them. Take some notes, but take some screenshots. And if you do post on social, which I have no problem with, make sure that I'm smiling. And make sure you tag me at the Budgetnista. All right, so I'm going to show you kind of some quick start things to do per each financial wholeness step. So quick start for budgeting is just a 4-step budget. List everything you spend money on. This is your money list. You have to understand that your budget truly is a physical picture of what your money is doing. It's money in, money out. So you have a money in part of your money list and a money out part of your money list. So you're going to write down everything you spend money on, how much you spend monthly on each item of your list. you're going to add up your expenses and subtract it from your monthly take-home pay. It's simple as this seems. People don't do it. It's like saying you have to exercise at least 30 minutes a day and at least get some green leafy vegetables in you, and try not to have processed sugar. We know it, but don't do it. But it's still, it warrants being said. It's just as simple as that. Because once you do this is what you can do. You can do what I call a split it before you get it. You can literally go to HR. And if you're fortunate, like my husband, he's able to split his paycheck into 4 different categories. So 4 different bank accounts. So he has done these steps. We sat down and did it because he was not good at budgeting. And I was like, well, let's do the budget without budgeting. So it just requires you to at least do this so you know what goes in each bank account. 2 checking, 2 savings. Checking number 1, you're going to put your bills. So you're going to add up your bills and you're going to put, you're going to have your paycheck be deposited into that bills account. It's not going to be attached to your debit card because, swiping, you will be swiping away your bill money. We don't want that. Then automate your bills. Checking account number 2, you are going to have your spending money. That can be attached to your debit card, and that's fine. Savings account number 1, not at your regular bank. You want an online only bank. They pay higher interest and they make your money inconvenient because the transfer from savings to checking is about 24 to 72 hours. Because I know you, if you're something like me, I'll be right at Target like, what? Checking says what? Oh no, let me transfer my savings to my checking. Bing, the dress is mine. If your savings is at another bank and your checking is at another bank, you're going to have to sleep at Target, sweetheart, before you get that outfit or that blender or that whatever, right? And so savings number 1 is your emergency savings account. So at least 3 months to 6 months, if not more, of emergency savings. And savings account number 2 is your long-term savings account. So things for like a home or a car or investing for later. Okay? Got it? When I say got it, you guys let me know. Got it? Remember, these are kind of like, I'm pulling this directly from my new book, Get Good with Money, little snapshots of things that you can do. All right? Because you're going to have some homework at the end. So I hope you're paying attention. Got it? Okay, good. All right. 2, financial wholeness, saving like a squirrel. Here's why I say save like a squirrel, because squirrels are super savvy savers, unlike human beings, right? So this is what squirrels do that is so smart. Squirrels are like, you know what? It's spring, it's fall. Look at all the acorns, abundance. That's like a squirrel saying, my paycheck's looking extra chunky. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lean in, work a little harder, lean in, save a little more. What do humans do? Oh my goodness, look at fall, spring. My paycheck's looking extra chunky. You know what I'm going to do? Drinks on me, drinks on me, drinks on me, right? That's what we do. But when squirrels have financial abundance, AKA their acorns, they lean in and they work harder and save more, because squirrels understand that money or their acorn harvest is cyclical, that financial winter comes for everyone. So squirrels know that winter is coming, so they prepare during the abundant times. Now for squirrels that, depending on when you live, it's annually, right? And so for us, we might not know as clearly as squirrels, like, oh, okay. But we do know that recessions happen every 10 to 15 years in the United States. And we do know that you should know that there's a cycle when it comes to the economy, okay? And so that part is really important. I want you to be mindful and to lean in when things are in abundance, okay? I'll go back to that slide because we got a lot more to go. It's going to come at the end, asking for the other slide. Okay. So saving like a squirrel, having at least 3 months of your baseline expenses. So I like to call your baseline expenses your noodle budget. That if you had to eat ramen noodles budget. Now, you are not to live at your noodle budget, but you should know what your noodle budget is, right? So what does that mean? That just means if you had to say, you know what, I'm only going to pay for the essential things in my budget, so I'm not going to do anything extra. I'm like, if I had to live like I was in college and live off, ramen noodles, what would that life look like? If my normal life cost me $5,000 a month, maybe my noodle budget life cost me $3,500. You don't have to live there, but you should know it. And when you experience financial trauma, sometimes you got to drop down and get your noodle on. Hey, drop down and get your noodle on. Okay. Sometimes you have to, we're not talking about really ramen noodles. I mean, some of y'all are really literal. Do I have to be preschool teacher, Tiffany? right? So we're not talking literally eating ramen noodles. I'm saying that you are wanting to live at the bare bones essential if necessary, meaning there are some people during quarantine and pandemic, they lost their job and they were living off of unemployment, or they were furloughed, or their jobs reduced their income. As a result, most people don't pivot in time. They don't. So I call it your noodle budget because it's just a fun thing for you to remember. And as a teacher, I know that when I tell you stories like that, guess what you're going to remember tonight? Noodle budget. You ain't got to eat ramen noodles, girl, but you're going to remember noodle budget. And you're going to remember it means that it's my bare bones budget. Got it? It could be your peanut butter and jelly budget. You can call it whatever, your rice and beans budget. You can call it whatever you want. Just remember it. Right? So you're going to use your money list to determine what your financial baseline budget is. Okay? So ideally, you want 3 months of your noodle budget saved in an online only savings account. But here's the key when it comes to this is that it also depends on your industry. My mom was a nurse before she retired. 3 months was enough time because nurses are always in high demand. Now, my sister, who's an engineer, she needs 6 months or more because it's very difficult for her. It took her a long time to find her first job. So sometimes she believes it's going to be a long time for her to find a replacement to that income. Just be mindful of that. Okay? Okay. 3, digging out of debt, right? We're talking about financial wholeness. So this is number 3. So you want to have a plan to dig out of debt. You don't have to be debt free. That's how you reach this component of financial wholeness. So you can look at the avalanche method or the snowball method. So the snowball method is when you pay down the debt with the smallest balance first. The avalanche method is when you pay down the debt with the highest interest rate first. Here's why. I like a mix. The smallest balance first means that you will have earlier success because you might have a debt that's $100, $2,000, $50,000. That's your student loans. But if you focus on a debt that's a $100 debt first, you are likely to pay that off sooner, and then you roll over that full payment to the next debt on your list. Now, when you pay down debt with the highest interest rate first, you're attacking the debt that's most expensive to you. And although it makes logical sense, it doesn't always make emotional sense. So I like to do a mix. I like to say, hey, I'm going to focus on the debt with the smallest balance first. And when I have 2 debts that are of similar balances, I will pay off the one with the highest interest rate first. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. Good. Okay. So that's number 3. It's picking a method and then kind of setting it and semi-forgetting it. Because here's the thing. Unfortunately, too many of us make debt freedom the goal. It is not the goal. It is a goal. I'm going to say it again. Debt freedom is a goal, not the goal. The goal is financial wholeness and growing wealth. A goal means on that way there, debt freedom is something you could check off. Because the problem with making debt freedom the goal is once you stop, you can be debt free and still broke. I'll give you an example. My nephew, Roman, he doesn't have a mortgage. He doesn't have a car note. He doesn't have student loan debt. He doesn't have credit cards. Roman doesn't owe anyone. Roman is 5. Roman is broke. He was just over here the other day eating up all my animal crackers, talking about he wants yellow rice with no peas. Roman's broke. So, because here's the thing, if debt freedom was wealth, then why are toddlers broke? They're debt free, right? Broke best friends, right? So that's what these little toddlers are. But I use that to remind you that because sometimes some of us go so hard with being debt free, if that was the answer, then the toddlers in your life could let you hold something. They cannot. So I want you to, yes, work toward debt freedom on the way to financial wholeness. Okay? Awesome. Yours is named Stokely. Stokely's just broke, right? No Stokely, right? So I want you to just be mindful of that. Okay. Next. All right. Scoring high. So maintaining and achieving a perfect credit score. So perfect credit starts at 740. Some people think that like they have to have an 850. We're talking about FICO score. So there are a bunch of different credit scores, but we're focusing on FICO because if you have a good FICO score, you likely have good credit scores across the board. And FICO right now is really the standard that people lean into. So FICO stores, they max out at 850. But here's the thing, you don't need an 850. So your friend that's stunted, I got an 850. If you have a 740, a 750, a 780, you and her you are in the same range. They look at credit scores as a range. So once you get to 740, that should be your goal. You might want to put a little stank on it, make it 750 just to be on the safe side. That's cute. But that is the ideal when it comes to your credit score, is that you're wanting to get to a 740 or better. And here's some of the ways how, right? It is, so here's some credit score hacks. There's a jump like Jordan method. This is a method, I just call it jump like Jordan because I just feel like, although there are other grades, hey, LeBron, that's cute, but Jordan, he used to jump and look like he was floating in the air, stayed up. Jordan stayed up, and that's what we want for your credit. And the way the jump like Jordan method works is that you pay off, you have a credit card with a zero balance. So you pay one off, or you have one that you haven't been using, and you put the smallest reoccurring payment on that credit card, and you pay it off every month in full. So let's pretend this is a credit card. You put a credit card between your bill. Hey, Netflix, my cheapest reoccurring bill. Hey, bank account, my bills account we mentioned earlier. So before, Netflix used to go to my bills account, take its money. Not anymore. Putting this zero balance credit card in the middle. Netflix charges this credit card, bills account pays this credit card off in full every single month, right? So here's the key though. You want to make sure that it pays it off after the statement date. The statement date is the day that they issue the statement and tell the credit bureau, hey, Monica used her card. You want usage to be noted. And then you want to pay it off by the due date because you don't want to be late. So you want usage noted, card was used, noted, card was paid off, noted, card was used. Okay. So if you do that, when you pay off a debt in full, it is a hack because it doesn't matter if it's $5, $15, $500, $5,000, $500,000. The amount is not what matters here. It's the habit of paying off a debt in full. And then every month at that, when you do that, you will really see your credit score jump like Jordan. This is how I took my credit score after I lost my house to foreclosure, from a 540 to I'm now at an 802, but it took me like maybe about 2 years to take me up to a 750. And I still had an active foreclosure on my credit report. Did you hear what I just said? I had foreclosure on my credit report and had a 750. That's how powerful this method is. Okay. Awesome. Also, having a bills account, 35% of your credit score is just making on-time payments. So if you have a separate checking account just for bills, and you have your bills account pay your bills for you, and so to prevent you from being late, then that's going to affect your credit score positively. Okay. 5, learning to earn, increasing your income. Okay. So making more at work and creating multiple streams of income. So I want you to be, if you have a job right now, awesome, create what my sister calls it, Go Me, right? And so Go Me is this file that every time you do something specific to help your company make money or save money, if you're on the team, if it's indirect, that's fine. The more specific you can get, the better. Because when you then go approach your supervisor, boss, whoever for a raise, you are quantifying your value. Hey, according to my Go Me file, last year, I helped to save and make the company $100,000. So you're asking for a $5,000, $10,000 raise. That's peanuts in comparison to what I brought to the table. Okay. Okay. So yes, I'm taking questions at the end, right? So Go Me file, right? And also too, if you are going to add a side hustle on, which it's always good to know. Here's the thing. Everybody should have a side hustle, either an external one or one in their head. I think 2020 taught us that you got to be on ready. So it doesn't mean that you have to be doing your side hustle, but when I used to teach, right, when I needed extra coin, you know what I used to do? Bing, bing, I could babysit. Bing, bing, I could tutor, right? So I was really mindful of that. So you're going to look for side hustles, ideally, to start that are related to what you're currently doing at your main job, or something that you have a degree in. Okay? Okay. Investing like an insider, right? Having automated investment plans for retirement and for wealth building. So it's important to understand that there's two types of investing. There's retirement investing. That's investing to maintain your current lifestyle when you get older. And then there is wealth investing. That's to improve your current lifestyle and to leave a legacy. So you want to leave some money for the babies. Okay. Retirement investing is not about the private island. I know they tell you that. It's not. the way you set aside for retirement, you set aside anywhere from like 10 to 15%. That will ensure that you can maintain your current lifestyle. I like to name my old lady self. Her name is Wanda. And so that means I'm taking care of my Wanda. If I want to improve my current lifestyle and leave a legacy, then that's wealth investing. But always, always, always start with retirement investing. 2 hacks. If you don't know nothing about nothing when it comes to retirement investing, you can look into a target date fund. These typically are mutual funds. Know that they do have higher fees because most mutual funds are actively managed, meaning that it is a person that is picking out your mix of stocks and bonds and other investments. So whenever somebody got to get involved, the fees are higher. These fees are called expense ratios. But the benefit of a target date fund, it's a basket. You don't have to pick individual stocks. It's a basket of investments, right? So that means you have this diversity built in. And the closer and closer you get to the target date, typically your retirement date, the more conservatively that investment is invested. Okay. So it's almost like a set it and forget it for investment, but you pay a higher fee as a result. Right? An index fund, for those of you investing for wealth, is similar. It's also a basket of stocks or bonds, right? That try to, but the thing about an index fund is that its performance is linked to a market like the S&P 500. Right? There's like the NASDAQ, Dow Jones, S&P 500. S&P 500 is 500 large United States companies that trade on the market. And so its job is to mirror the market. So if the S&P 500 does this, it's like this. Right? So the purpose of a mutual fund, most mutual funds that are actively managed, is to beat the market. That's why we pay that person. The purpose of an index fund is to meet the market, meaning market goes up, down, side to side, on, in, out, right? And so a mutual fund, an index fund, it is also passively managed. It's just an algorithm, typically. So the expense ratio, the fee is less expensive. Okay. 7, get good with insurance. Okay. Making sure you have enough insurance. It's really important that as you get more responsibilities, you're going to be wanting to update your life insurance, disability, health, pet insurance, homeowners, car insurance, renter's insurance, right? And you could use this free checkup tool like Policy Genius is a free tool. That's great for looking up to see where you are with your insurance. Now, here's a rule of thumb when it comes to insurance. If you don't have dependents and you don't have debt that you're going to leave behind for someone, you might not need life insurance. You will, if you're working, disability, yes, health insurance. If you have a pet, you probably should get pet insurance. If you have a home, absolutely. Car, or if you're renting. But life insurance, the purpose of life insurance, for the most part, I know people think of life insurance because I want to leave my baby $1 million. Well, yeah, there's other ways that you can use that money that you would put toward life insurance to put it toward other investments. Remember, the investing for wealth is going to help you leave a legacy and improve your lifestyle. Now that's really where that money should go. But life insurance is like, I've got dependents. I look after my mama, my grandmother. I look after my baby sister. I look after, I have children. For 10 years, I want to make sure that they, although they might be missing me physically, they won't be missing my income. And so that's the rule of thumb. So let's just say you make $100,000, a year, 100,000 times 10 years, you would get $1 million policy, right? So just keeping that in mind. Or if you also have debt, so for example, when I was 26 or 27, I think I got my first life insurance policy, not because I had dependents, I did not. But I had student loans, and I had a home. So I had a mortgage that was $220, and my student loans were $50,000. So I said, if something were to happen to me, that financial burden would fall upon my parents. So I got a $300,000 life insurance policy to cover my debt, and I had credit card debt to cover my debt. So if something were to happen, they'd be able to take that money, cover the debt, and then bury me. Okay. I know it seems a little morbid, but you wanted to protect your assets when you're not here. Okay. All right, moving on. Grow rich-ish, achieving and maintaining a positive net worth. Okay, so it is important that you understand, first of all, what is net worth? Your net worth is what you own, your assets, minus what you owe, your liabilities. Assets put money into your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. So an asset, things like cash is an asset. You might own a business, you might own jewelry, stocks, You have a pension fund, your retirement account, the money that's in there. So remember, assets put money into your pocket, right? And liabilities are things like your debt, more debt, credit card debt, the debt part of your mortgage. So your asset might be your home, but the mortgage is your liability because that's what you owe still. And so like, even though like, for example, a car, they call that a depreciating asset because that's something that you own. Yes. But over time, the car is worth less and less, unless it's like some sort of collectible, less and less and less. It depreciates, it goes down in value over time. We don't want stuff like that. Ideally, we want more assets that either hold their value or appreciate, go up in value. Okay. So you have to, what you do here is you have to, my bad. What you're going to do here is that you're wanting to increase what you own and decrease what you owe, paying down debt, buying stocks, buying bonds, maybe starting a business, investing, getting collectibles if you're really into art. So what are things that you can do to put more money into your pocket? Okay. That is, and it's just as simple as there are people who own, say $100 million worth of assets, but then owe $200 million worth of liabilities. So they're really negative $100 million. And you don't want to be caught in that, the look of a thing. You actually want to your net worth is really like a snapshot of like how healthy your finances are. It's not the only thing, but it's a quick snapshot. Okay. 9, money team. So the money team is hiring a team of professionals, right? So accountability partner. This actually is the only person that's not the professional. This is just a safe space, a safe person that you can lean in to ask questions. So I actually started a Facebook group called Dream Catchers Live Richer with the Budgetnista, because I noticed that we're in not enough safe spaces to have an accountability partner. So I created that group, and there's like 500,000 people in that group leaning into one another, right? So you're wanting an accountability partner. It could be your work mom. It could be your real mom. It could be your work husband. It could be a real husband. It could be your best friend, your gym partner, whoever. You're also potentially might need an insurance agent. These are not things you have to have, but to consider. It's important that you understand that money is a team sport. If you're doing it alone, you likely are doing it incorrectly, even if you are a financial expert yourself. Here's why. A doctor cannot operate on themselves. I don't care if you're the best doctor in the world. If you break your leg, you're gonna need another doctor to help you out. It is so important because sometimes we're so close to our money that it's hard to see some of the mistakes that we're making. An accountant, financial advisor, a financial planner, right? So when you're thinking about finance, so a financial advisor is the overall name for almost anyone that helps you with your money, right? And they typically sell products. When you hear that, a financial planner will typically help beyond the money. So there's 2 different types of ways to pay. Well, there's a bunch of different ways, but the main 2 ways are fee only or fee based, and some are just commission based. So fee only, right, means that there's no commission. They don't sell financial products. You just pay them. You pay them like hourly, a lump sum fee, maybe monthly or annually. But fee based means that you pay them out of pocket, but they also might offer products like insurance for a commission. I like fee only certified financial planners. If you're a certified financial planner, you have to have a certain number of years in the game. You have to have taken a test and you're certified. And they're fiduciaries, meaning they have to put your interest first. And so I like for a fee only certified financial planner. That's what mine is, because that's just, to me, it's one of the best ways to ensure that what you're getting is the help which is best for you, not what's best for someone else in their pockets. Leaving a legacy, estate planning. All right, so here's some components. A will or trust. So the difference between a will or trust is still kind of like a plan of this, what I want to happen with my assets. The thing is, a will is activated upon your death. A trust is activated while you're alive upon signature. So right now, my husband and I are in the process of getting a trust because we have some properties that we want to put in it. And we want to, while we're here, determine how we want those assets to be used, right? And so a trust also, what's so special about trust, the reason why I want to do that is because people be Googling. And with these properties, I want people to be like, Tiffany, Budgetnista, Leche, snap my neck, my back, my neck, and my back. I'm suing, you know. But if I put stuff in a trust officially closes the door. It is the essential mind your business, right? A will is where you're like, okay, this is what I want to happen with my things legally, you know. But what I like about a trust is that it provides a little bit of privacy when it comes to your things. And then when you pass away, when things are on a trust, especially, people can't see. Like if you don't have anything, you know, and your stuff ends up going to probate court, that's basically ringside seats. Like I could look up right now, Prince's estate. Why do I know Prince's business? Because he didn't have a will or a trust or none of that stuff. And it's a shame because one, you lose so much money to the administrator that has to decide what happens with your property. Two, you might not have wanted your property to go to your sister. You might have wanted to go to your niece or your best friend or your mama, whoever. But instead, because you didn't leave written, notarized instructions, then, you know, an administrator has to decide for you. Something else, beneficiaries, right? So you might say, well, I don't have an estate. I don't even have an estate. You do. If you have a life insurance policy, you have an estate. If you've got a retirement account at work, you got an estate. You got a pension plan, you got an estate. You have a bank account, you have an estate. So people don't understand this. So let's just pretend you were married. You know, it didn't work out. You got married when you were 25. It didn't work out. But at the time, you put down your current spouse's name on your bank account. But now you're growner, you're 35, you're married, you got 3 kids, everything's all good. You still have your bank account from back then. Something unfortunately happens to you. Your will says everything goes to my boo-boo and my kids, right? That's what it says in your will, honey, and you feeling good about it, right? And then the beneficiary on that bank account still says X. Guess who that money belongs to? The beneficiary form trumps everything. This is why an estate plan, it might not be this big will or trust, but at the very least, it's the beneficiaries on your form, the beneficiaries on your bank account, on your retirement account, on your insurance account. You keep those up to date. I'm not gonna lie, me and my husband married 3 years. We were just, because he has a pension, he works for the city where we live, and we were doing something. Our financial planner was asking us to print something out for his pension. I was looking, I said, let me look at the beneficiary, because I thought we updated it. You know what it said on his beneficiaries? It said his daughter, we have a stepdaughter, his sister as a secondary beneficiary. It also said his daughter's mother, because he was dating her when they were together when he started this job. I said, boy, if you would have passed away and your pension went to somebody else, I would have woke you up and then killed you dead again, right? And so you want to make sure that your beneficiaries are up to date. You don't want a beneficiary, like for example, this is happening too with Kobe Bryant's children, right? So we all know he tragically passed away. And unfortunately, so the baby, I don't know, was she still pregnant? No, but the baby was so young. So they used to literally add the kids to the trust when they turned 1, but she was not 1 yet. So now the trust, his whole estate goes to his children, but the baby is left out. So now I believe his wife is like, you know, trying to work on like, because, you know, he created this trust. So you want to be mindful about like, you know, keeping up with your beneficiary. Okay. Also to potentially a living will, powers of attorney, letter of intent. You want to make sure that you don't just have these things, that they are signed. Okay. Yes, the wife had to add the baby. So just want to make sure. Okay. All right. So somebody asked me for this again. So these are your 10, take a picture, 10 steps to financial wholeness. Do you see why just going for financial freedom, I ain't got to work no more, is not enough? Because you might say, I ain't got to work no more. Where's your insurance? Are you fully insured? I ain't got to work no more. Do you have a living will? Do you have a trust? What happens if you get sick? You know, I don't have to work no more. What if you actually want to borrow money? Because maybe there's an investment that you don't want to really put your money out for. Do you have, your credit is decent? I don't have to work no more, but you're in debt and this person comes back to sue you. You see what I mean? I don't have to work no more. And then something happens to the business or whatever reason you don't have to work anymore, but you don't know how to earn any money. It's important that you look at your money holistically. Financial freedom is just for a few itty bitty small group of people. Financial wholeness is for everybody. Now, I have homework for you. Okay. Yes, always homework. I want you to pick one financial wholeness step you're going to take action on in the next 24 hours. Right. So is it going to be budget, savings, debt. I gave you all these different things you can do. If you listened in the beginning, you would have had your notebook with your notes, right? So what are you going to do with the next 24 hours? Studies show when you take action within the first 24 hours of learning something, you are more likely to see it all the way through. I want you to automate at least one component of your finances, right? Are you going to automate your bills account? Are you going to split it before you get it? Call HR tomorrow. Are you going to automate your savings? Automation is the new discipline. And 3, you are going to go to getgoodwithmoney.com and pre-order my new book. Hello, 10 simple steps to becoming financially whole. Yeah, so I wrote this because the teacher in me wanted a step-by-step guide, you know, to guide you through. So I just did like a brief cursory overview, you know, of like what I dive deeply into with Get Good with Money. I want you to be able to, at 21, at 31, at 41, it looks different each step, depending on what age you're in. But I know that financial wholeness can be achieved no matter where you are, because I was closer to financial wholeness when I was 25 than when I was 33. And like, I was making good money as the Budgetnista, but I was super scared to do anything else. But now that I'm 41, I am 100% financially whole and a baby millionaire. Okay. But honestly, like, I think people think that adhering to the financial fundamentals means that you don't have. That's not true. I stand before you. I say baby millionaire, but I should just say millionaire, because it's not one figure. We are multiple figures. But the truth of the matter is, it's because of my financial foundation. When recession hit, when quarantine hit, when all these things hit, I was rock solid because I built such a strong financial foundation and built from there. And I want that not just for myself, but I can't want for me and not want for you. And that's why I wrote Get Good with Money, because I wanted to show people step by step by step, it is possible. 10 years ago, I was a preschool teacher. Let that sizzle in your spirit, in Brick City, Newark, New Jersey. 10 years ago, that's what I was doing. And now here I stand before you, someone who has made every mistake: foreclosure, credit card scam, credit card debt, $300,000 in debt, just all the things you can think of. And I was able to dig my way out in less time than you think. And you can too. And, you know, I just want that for you. So go ahead and get good with money, child. All right, Jew can come back, Jew.
I'm so here for it. I'm sitting here like, oh, let me go ahead and noodle with my money, right? Let me go.
Take your screenshot.
Let me get it. So what we're going to be going right now is that we're going to be getting ready for Q&A. Let me go ahead and transition my camera and make sure that I'm also on the spotlight with you, because that's also important. Here I am.
Yes, here I go. I heard you was looking for me. Here I
go. So are you ready for something?
Yeah.
There's a little shade with that, because there's some younger millennials in the room in the moment, and they might not know Mystical, and that's okay.
Okay, it's okay. Some of y'all just been missing out on life, but it's all right.
They don't know Master P. They don't know Mystical. They don't know Make Him Say, nah.
Some people just, they just living less of a life. But you know what? YouTube is free and open 24/7, so you can go ahead and get your education.
F-aura-E-E, as they say, aura-E-E. So we're going to be getting into some questions. So yes, we did learn about the noodle budget. We learned about money as a team sport, and we learned that we might not want to have to kill a person dead twice, just in case they didn't fix that beneficiary.
Yes. Like, wake up. You had her on here.
The funny thing is, as I think about that, and I think about and this is just transparency, my ex situation, he has to be removed from some of my beneficiary situations. Because that part.
Yes. You don't want him
Period.
Wait, what? I get what? Oh, okay. I mean, so sad.
I can't take you nowhere. We're going to get into a few questions really quickly. So there were some questions that came in. I know they'll be typing me, so my eyes might dart, as I have a screen here and a screen there and a phone here. So if you do see my eyes dart, you know why. So the first question for today is, yes, COVID has shown us that our job situation can change any day and any time. Just say that you're in COVID and you're not prepared. How can you prepare during COVID when everything is stretched?
So when everything is stretched, I want you to remember this, that like, to try not to be the woman in the fur coat. And so I remember the last recession was like 2009, 2010. I was in Bergen County, New Jersey, very wealthy part of New Jersey. And there was a woman with this beautiful, luscious fur coat with some huge, fancy car. And she was at the gas station. And, they took one card, ma'am, it doesn't work. Another card, ma'am, this card. Another card, ma'am, this card. And I was like, and so I don't know her, but I, in my mind, had came up with this theory that so many wealthy people lost a lot of wealth during that time, and they did not pivot. They were still living as if life had not changed, although their financial situation had. So I don't want you to be the woman in the fur coat who is still living at level 10 when your money says 3, because 3 is just temporary. The quicker you can pivot to your noodle budget, or even less than that, let's just say that you're like, I can't even afford that. It's okay to sometimes pivot to what I call your health and safety budget. Jude, that's when you just pay for things that are going to maintain your health and your safety, and everybody else has to wait. I'm okay with saying, I'm sorry, credit card, I don't have it right now because I'm going to pay my rent, so I'm not homeless. I'm sorry, phone bill or whatever, I don't have it right now. You're going to call them and let them know, but I'm going to pay for my asthma medication. So that way, if I have an asthma attack, I can still be here. Yeah. So that's what I say is that, like, put yourself first. You're more important than your bills. Put your mask on first, just like in an airplane. Take care of yourself first. And then when you can do better, you do better by those folks. Now, call them and let them know. And if they harass you via the phone, your BFF is cease and desist letter. Ask me how I know, because the last recession caught me with my phone ringing off the hook. I Googled me a cease and desist letter, printed that bad boy out, took the 75 cents I didn't have, went myself right down to Staples, was like, beep, 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 boop, boop. And with 24 hours, by law, they cannot call you. Now, let them know, you can email me, you can mail me here, but you cannot call me, and less anxiety on my phone. And as my situation improved, I reached back out to make arrangements with those folks.
Love it, love it. Thank you for the gem. That is a true gem, and anybody that's listening right now, please take that. I'm going to give a quick announcement and a quick note to people. So here's an update. It was the first one, but now it's the first 3 people to join YP tonight get a free copy of Tiffany's The Budgetnista new book. So if you go ahead and join YP tonight, guess what? You will be on your path to financial wellness and financial freedom. The key is it starts today. So let's keep going. I got a private message from a person, and I'm not going to be calling names today just for the sake of privacy. So the person said, question, literally 2 weeks ago, I accidentally overpaid my credit card. My latest FICO score from today showed that my score went down 13 points. Are those things directly related to one another?
People ask me this all the time. And the thing about credit is that there is a formula, but then there's the special sauce that they don't tell you about. Right? So people will say, hey, Tiffany, it's like, I'll give you an example. Your credit score is your GPA, your financial GPA. Remember high school, you got your GPA? So it's the equivalent of you saying to me, Tiffany, so I turned in my pottery final late, and my pot was a little bit leaning to the left. My GPA dropped. You think that's what it was? Well, I would have to know what happened sophomore year, what happened junior year, what happened, because your credit score is an average of your financial choices, especially over the last 2 years. That makes the most difference, right? So I don't think that's what it was, but there's no way to know because there's so many other financial choices that you might have made that could have affected it. I don't sweat the pendulum of like 10, 15, even 20, 50 or above, you want to make sure and see, like, did I pay something late? Let me pull up my credit report and see, but I would not sweat that 10, 15, 20, if you just keep getting enough A's, you will offset any C's, D's, or F's that you might get. Right. And so, like, if you got an F in Spanish of sophomore year, but you got straight A's junior year, straight A's senior year, you can offset that F. That's what you focus on just making good financial choices, paying on time, paying in full, paying off. And you do that and you don't have to worry about those small points.
Love it. Love it. So you see, I'm going to keep pivoting to questions. So I'm ready for it. It's going to be like straight up fire shots, right? So congratulations. They're young professionals. They're between 21 and 30 years old. I'm still 20.
Me too. I'm half my age.
again and again. And so they got that promotion. They got that new job. They got that new salary. What's the first thing that you would say they need to do to set themselves up for success with their new income, adding to what you've already said about that high yield savings account? And I added high yield because I have one. And so what else would you tell them to do? They got that new job, that promotion, that new salary. It's $20,000 more. What should they do day one?
Day one, I would say, before you even get that money, as soon as you hear it, I want you to make a plan and say, okay, with this $20,000, what does it actually look like in take home pay? right? Because you know, Uncle Sam is not going to let you have that full 20. There's a great website called like Paycheck City. I think that's what it's called. And at Paycheck City, you can kind of see like, you know, what your actual take home pay is going to be. So figure out what that's going to be. Decide how much of that money that you'll absorb as like to increase your level of living. Of the 20,000, you might tell yourself, you know what? Of this amount of money, I'm going to allow myself to enjoy a boost to my personal life at 20%. And that extra 80%, I'm going to use that to either boost my retirement account or boost investing for wealth. Because while you are still young, it is your younger self's job to look after your older self. If you absorb every penny that comes to you, one day when your pay drops or there's some sort of financial trauma or recession or whatever, one day when that happens, then you will have cut your coat according to your size. It's an African proverb. That just means that like, so when you were 20, your coat fit just fine. All of a sudden you're 30, oh, you need a bigger coat. And you're 40, you need a bigger coat. It's like, well, actually, you didn't really, but you started to fill that coat unnecessarily. Let's practice staying loose in our coat. So when new money comes in, enjoying some of it, but putting the rest toward growing wealth.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. It was robust, and hashtag is educating me at the same time. So the next question we have, young professionals don't have a lot of money. And yes, sometimes financial planners or advisors want you to pay an arm and a leg. What is a realistic / acceptable amount to pay a financial planner or advisor in your POV?
So in my point of view, right? So here's what you don't have to pay. So for me, I pay a lot for my certified financial planner, but she's also a high net worth financial planner, right? So many financial planners will start with a plan that's usually going to be between $1,000 to $1,500. You might say, I don't have it, but there are some financial planners that work hourly. They might be, I've seen as low as $150 an hour. So you can literally start to look. There's like XYZ Planning. That's a great website. You can literally start to look to see if you can just pay someone for a couple hours of their time to help you with a specific, issue, problem, or whatever that looks like. And you might tell yourself, I'm going to pay for 3 or 4 hours annually for someone to help me work through whatever it is that I'm working through. And so for that big financial plan, like I said, $1,500, but for like hourly as low as $150. And that's a good place to start. But yes, they do cost.
Gotcha. Thank you for that answer.
Yes. XYZ Planning, Kirby.
Now, look, I'm watching private messages as we go. So we'll be going for questions until 8:15 since we started just a little low. So if you guys have questions, feel free to go ahead and DM me. I did get that message that we'll keep going. I do have some already queued up here. So the next question is, I want a car. I've been thinking about buying it. So should I lease versus buying, or should I buy versus leasing? What do you say is the question?
Well, it depends. So buying a car can be, so I'll give you an example. My husband, where we lived, it was right next to where we worked. He literally would walk to work and never drove. Mm-hmm. So for him, a lease would make sense because he can get a newer car. And then he's not putting so much wear and tear on the car because he never really had to drive. So for him, he wanted, like I said, he ended up just purchasing a car, but I said, babe, you don't necessarily have to, because you don't have to worry about using more miles and that's allotted to you. Mm-hmm. Another reason why you might want to get a lease, like a sister of mine, she was like, a lease will make the monthly payments less expensive. And she did drive far. And so she needed a reliable car. She really was like, I can't get a used beat up car. It's not going to last me. Right. So know that cars are depreciating assets. So for me, if I'm going to purchase a car, this is the only way I like to purchase a car. I like to either purchase outright a certified pre-owned used car, or to finance a certified pre-owned car. Here's why I like a certified pre-owned car. I think they can't be more than like 2 years old. So you're not really getting an old car. You're just getting a car that's a year or two old. And that certified pre-owned means that you can negotiate, like my car that I have now, it was 100,000 miles, or I think 6 years. It's almost like I had the same warranty as a new car. And so anytime my car was like, boop, I said, oh no, boo-boo. Mm-mm. That's what this warranty is for. They were sick of me. I remember one time they had to actually replace my engine because it was making this weird noise. And I was like, no, I'm sorry. This is certified what? Pre-owned. And so they couldn't figure what it was. I'm like, sounds like a problem. And so they ended up having to replace my engine, which means I got a brand new car on the inside.
Damn.
But that's what happens when you get a certified pre-owned car. And I honestly, I caution folks, unless you like Oprah, against getting super brand new cars, because cars depreciate instantly. I can literally buy a shirt from Target, bring it back 21 days later, get my full $30 back. With a car, you can't, because that car goes down in value once it's owned by someone else. And so it's certified pre-owned.
So I'm going to just be transparent. If you ever come to New York, you just have to teach me how to drive. But we'll put a period in that.
So many people, all my Brooklyn friends, I'm like, you know how to drive when I went to college. But I realized, I'm like, that kind of makes sense, because you don't need to drive. Why in New York? It doesn't make sense.
That silver chariot has been on my life force for many years, and those dancers have been my entertainment on my silver chariot.
It's showtime. I know.
Showtime, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not doing this to put money in my pocket. We're not going to do it. But let's keep going. We have another question. The question says, I am a saver. I am terrified to create or pay off big bills in fear that I will need my money for something more important. How can I tweak my mindset about this?
Yeah. So honestly, we have all been there. I know I've been there, being afraid when it comes to money. Something that does help is automation. Tell yourself, what do you need to have saved to woosah? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Figure out what that is and then put that out so you can start to automate that the additional money that comes in towards your debt. Because what you don't want is debt. Remember, like I said, well, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but the key is that you want to be working on your debt and saving at the same daggone time, because they're both equally important. Right? Saving is your assets, debt is your liability. So you want to be paying down your liabilities and increasing your assets. If not, effectively, because here's the thing about saving, and this is how it's expensive to oversave. You're actually losing money. So if I save my money, even in a high yield savings account, I think before pandemic, there was like 2% interest you were earning. Now it's like 0.5% if you're lucky. 0.5% interest is what your savings is making you. Your debt, I promise you, is costing you more than 0.5% interest. If you're lucky, your debt's costing you 5%. That's like low interest, meaning you are paying 5% on your debt and you're making 0.5% here. There is 4.5% that you're losing. So actually over saving loses you money. And so too much saving. So saving, the purpose of saving is just to provide a safety net. Honestly, because savings, having a lot of savings, it just does not make financial sense. So you want to save to have enough of a safety net, and the rest should be put toward investing and paying down debt. Otherwise, you're literally losing money. And let's just say you don't even have any debt. You're like, I'm debt free. So what? I'm going to save. Inflation is robbing you of your savings as well. Because inflation, I don't know right now, maybe let's just say it's like 2%. Your savings is making you 0.5%. Inflation is saying, oh, girl, please. Inflation is the devaluing of money over time. Remember back in the day, you could go to the corner store and get a quarter water. That quarter water now is 35 cents, because your same 25 cents doesn't go as far. So that money that you're saving doesn't go as far. So if it's growing at this slow rate, but losing its value at a faster rate, you are actually losing money faster than you're gaining it. So over saving actually makes you broker.
Oh, you almost had me start talking about different things from the 90s that might not be. Quarter water was one of them. I might do that later, but let's keep going on into another question. The next question is, what advice about debt consolidation loans do you have? When is this a yes, or should we just generally stick to a snowball and avalanche payoff plan?
So debt consolidation loans can be good if a few things. One, that collectively with the debt that you're consolidating, obviously you want to make sure that that interest rate that you're getting is more beneficial than the interest rate that you're currently paying with the individual loans. So debt consolidation, for those of you asking, you owe A, B, C, D person, right? A, B, C, D. And you're like, oh, I'm paying them each individually 5%, 10%, 20%, whatever. The average of this is, say, I don't know, 15%. You're able to consolidate it. Basically, you're making 4 loans into one loan. You're able to consolidate it into one loan and ideally get a better interest rate. So instead of paying on average 15%, here they're able to offer you 8%. Sounds great, right? But here's what most people do and why there's even debt consolidation loans. Because they know you. They know the majority of people are going to be like, woohoo! Credit card paid off. Or I've got 4 paid off credit cards. Jude, what do you think that looks like to people? Temptation. we paid off. Not really, because you just moved your money from here to here. So what do people do? Like, just a little Target, a little Macy's run.
Macy's on 34th Street.
Right? That's it. What's a little H&M between friends? A little Zara if I'm feeling spicy. So now you have these 4 credit cards are run back up again, and you still owe that original money. That is the intent of those debt consolidation loans. They're wanting you to do that, honestly. But so you have to know in yourself, you have to say, self, are we really ready for all that? Can we handle that? If not, keep your behind right here and just pay. Use the snowball method. Now, if you know what, I am really ready. I'm gonna consolidate. I'm gonna maybe even close them. But even though I don't necessarily recommend closing credit cards because it can negatively affect your credit score. But if you think that you're gonna run them up, you can close them and just paying off this one loan. But you have to just be mindful of that component. Someone said attack. Sorry, Alicia. I was trying to attack you, girl. Yes, Amazon. When I tell you there's a box downstairs waiting for me, I don't even know what's in it, but I'm like, so I'm not immune to the foolishness. So I'm not here to judge, but I use these tricks and hacks for myself of automation and things like this for myself, because I know that I'm human just like everyone else. And I mean, since being home, you'd be like, literally, I could be like, I need some tea. Well, and my sister was like, what? I'm like, what? You don't want no tea? I mean, Amazon, like it's the menu at the restaurant, like, how, like, eyebrow gel. Oh, you know what? I also need, my husband's like, ma'am, there are stores out there. I'm like, the Rona is out there.
The bad thing is that I have so many families and students that are acting like that right now in this season, and I'm just going to revert them back to this so that they can listen.
Don't let Amazon get you caught up.
So we have a few more questions. So the next question is, I love my partner, but this is an issue. So the issue is, how can we make budgeting our finances fun and exciting together? Being a couple sometimes creates a lot of different situations, and finances, especially since I might get married one day to this person, is one of them. What are some efficient ways to help me do this without breaking up my relationship?
Yes.
My relationship.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real question. That question right there was like.
And I'm not gonna lie. So in the beginning, I wasn't good at this. Like my husband used to call me the Budgetnista bully. He like, oh my God, here comes the Budgetnista bully. I'm like, he said, if people only knew. I'm like, whatever, bro. Do what I said. It doesn't work that way. So what I had to learn is I had to find the movable middle, right? So I'm on this side, he's on this side. I'm more of a saver, and then I'm more of a saver, and he's a giver, but a giver to everybody, so he wasn't so much a spender, but everybody, you need $5 for a haircut? Yeah, sure, pay me back. Oh, you need such a, oh, I'm like, bruh, we have a home, and so I was like, how do I get him from here to here? One, I had to acknowledge that maybe that actually is not the way. I might not always be right. So instead, the answer should be, how do we get to the middle? Right? So first you have to find the middle. The middle is always some sort of ground that neither one of you have an argument over. So when I met my husband, my stepdaughter Alyssa was, how old was she? Like 6 or 7. And so she was something that was an easy financial save. It would be, I'm going to lend my boy $100 because he needs XYZ. And I'm like, well, did you put $100 in Alyssa's savings account? There was never any, come on, man. It was like, ooh, you right. So that was that was a middle. It was like, ooh, okay, we getting a little bit closer, right? And then it was like, I used to go on vacations with my girls all the time. He'd be like, oh, I want to go. I'm like, okay, let's open up a savings account for you so you can start putting money in that savings account. There was no pushback. So all of a sudden, the middle shifted a little. So he came a little closer to my side. Then he was like, oh, let's get married. And I was like, okay, we're grown because we got married in our late 30s. So it was like, okay, let's save for a wedding. So then I was able to move closer to what was now his new middle. So what happens is that in the beginning, it's okay if the financial things that you agree upon are not the responsible things, vacation and fun things. Get to a space that you both can agree upon without argument. Yes, vacation. Mm-hmm. Ooh, yes, too, whatever it is. And then from there, you find this common ground, and then you can talk about finances more responsibly. Because in the beginning, he was wanting to save for this truck. I remember every time I went on a business trip, I just was scared that a truck was going to be in our driveway. But then I was like, hey, babe, I know you want to save for this truck, but I just found out that the city has $10,000 properties. They're tax liens. or not tax liens. I forget what they call it. Tax. Let's just call it tax liens. They're properties that basically the city owns because of taxes, right? And so he was like, like, so it's like, do we spend $10,000 on this truck, or do we put it toward the tax lien? And so it made it easier to come to that consensus because we had already been putting aside for Alyssa. We had already set aside for got him to set aside for vacations. But you see that conversation was easier. And even most recently, now we have great financial conversation. We honestly don't ever argue over money. But now even most recently, he's been talking about a truck again. I'm like, no. But I was like, first of all, Tiffany, that's your move to the middle. And I said, how about this? Here's the deal. How about we let our assets pay for our liabilities? He was like, tell me more. I said, we just bought this $10,000 property. We renovated it. It's going to yield us about $2,000 a month in rent. What if you let that rent pay for the truck? And he was like, okay, now you see? And then, so now I feel better because I know we're not just paying out of pocket, that this asset is paying for our liabilities. And you really want to get funky with it. You let an asset pay for asset. Mm-hmm. That house can also pay for the next house. So find your movable middle, find your, we agree upon this no matter what, and build from there.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We have time for 2 more questions. So the next one I'm going to is someone said, great work tonight, Julius. Thank you. And it says, and thank you, Tiffany.
You're welcome.
Question. Once we've paid off our grad school bills / loans, we have 6 months savings and are sending a match to our 401k. Would you recommend we invest with something like a rental property or stock market?
So if you've got, so that's great. Bills paid off, excellent. You've already paid off so for your match, that just means that like their job says, if you put a certain amount of money into your retirement account, we put a certain amount. They're maxed out at that. So now you can start looking for investments in other ways. So ask yourself, is the percentage that you're putting away for your retirement account, is it at least 10%? Maybe upwards of 12 to 15%. If so, great. You can start looking to maybe invest for wealth. If not, you might want to look to an additional retirement account. So I like a Roth IRA. So a normal IRA is an individual retirement account, and that navigates like a 401k. Your money comes out and goes deposits in your retirement account pre-tax. So if you make $50,000 a year and you put up $5,000, the government says you didn't make 50, you made 45. You're just going to pay tax on the 45. That's what happens with a Roth, with a traditional IRA, similar to a 401k. But a Roth, but you already have your 401k because you're already getting your tax benefit up front. Or Roth, you get your tax benefit on the back end because you use after-tax money. You use your take-home pay money. It's already been taxed. You put it in your Roth IRA. I think right now the maximum of $6,000 a year. And then when you go to retire later after 59 and a half, you can withdraw that money. Not only do you get the money that you actually put into your Roth because you already paid taxes on it, the money it's grown to, you get to pull out tax free. And so traditional IRA, 401k, you get your tax break up front. Roth IRA, you get your tax break on the back end. And the reason why I say I would probably lean toward a Roth, the $6,000 a year deposit in a Roth now is because I think that it might be a little higher now, but 2020, it was once you made over $139,000 a year as a single person, you cannot contribute to a Roth anymore, at least in the traditional way. So, so you want to like take advantage, because I'm assuming that you're about to make big bucks soon. So you want to take advantage of a Roth while you're making, under that amount of money.
Love it. So here's the last question, and it's a quick one. If you have property, do you add your future partner to the deed? Why or why not, and when?
So
that question's targeted. I felt a little something in there.
This is what I say. If he like it, he will put a ring on it. Like unless we bought it together because that happens. Like, let's just say you guys bought it together. You're not married, but you guys, put money in together as a business partnership. Fine. But if you had this property before you came into this relationship, I'm not adding nobody that doesn't have a ring like mine on their finger because this when you are married, it's literally a contract. So you're already in contract with this person. So that's what I would say that if I and even my husband and I, we have I'm always honest about that. We have a prenuptial agreement because I wanted to make sure that the businesses that I had created before I met him that those would be solid if something were to happen. Like, let's just say we weren't together. I didn't want the people that I pay. I had 30 employees. I didn't want them to suffer because my relationship suffered, right? And so I made sure that those businesses are secured, but the things we build together are ours. So we would have to split those equitably. So I keep that in mind, that like, when what is mine, what I brought into a relationship is mine, what he brought is his, what we built together is ours. And so there be this equitable, separation. And that's what ours says. But yes, so I would just say that, like, no, if it is yours, then it's yours until you guys are literally legally in us. That's what I would say.
I love it. I love it. And I think what you did as we start the process of closing out is that you just basically gave somebody a whole Bible verse and a whole new, a new addition by helping them understand prenup and what that does and doesn't mean based on the pre-notions that we heard from our parents about that word. And especially if you were born during a certain time. It's
also, you have to remember, a prenup is whatever you wanted to say. You can literally say in your prenup, you only get the plant. I mean, it doesn't, we wanted ours to be equitable. Yours is yours, mine is mine, whatever you brought in, what's ours is ours. And we split that equitably. But you can have it say whatever it is that you want. Remember this, a prenup is just a contract. Like, I have many business contracts, and my attorney always reminds me, a contract is there when the two of you can't agree, then the contract tells you what to do. Right? So my business partner and I, my husband and I, we can do whatever we want now. Oh, we can do, but if there's a disagreement, like, like my business partner, you want to get froggy? No, this is mine. The contract is there to say, when things were good, sis, this is what y'all said. This is what y'all have to do. We can wear purple all day long, but if a contract says green and we don't agree on the purple anymore, then green it is. So just know that it's there. It's done. Honestly, I have an amazing relationship. I'm not going to be using locking into my prenup, but I wanted it to be equitable and fair. I know, but like, you can make it say whatever you want, but just know that both of you have to agree, and not to make it a thing that, like, it took my husband a minute because he was like, well, we're not going to break up. And I was like, I don't believe so either. But in case something happens, I want to make sure that my employees are provided for.
Here for it. So ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do right now, if you enjoyed this session in this moment, in this time, in this space, go ahead and write gems into the chat and flood the chat with gems right now. Tiffany, we had such an amazing time with you. Now you all see exactly why she is becoming America's favorite personal financial educator. This right here even spoke to my soul. Like, I'm sitting here like, oh.
And if you have not joined, right? So hello, this is what they do here. Like, where's your membership? Like, because honestly, understand, like, this is what membership brings, right? Membership gives you access. I don't think people understand that, like, access to folks is paramount. I did this. Normally, when I tell you my speaking fee, to be all the way candid, to do a keynote, we're talking $30,000 at minimum. To do something like this, we're looking at $20,000 to $25,000. I did not do that for that. I didn't. And so, because I was like, I wanted to pour into y'all. But that's what access did. So y'all think about that as your membership. It gets you access to something that maybe you might not have had access to. So it is an investment in self. So if you have not, don't play yourself tonight. Join a membership. Join and get your membership. And don't play yourself. Go ahead on and get good with money and go to getgoodwithmoney.com and cop my new book.
Okay. Once again, that website is www.getgoodwithmoney.com. Do I have to say it again, radio style? www.getgoodwithmoney.com. Yes! What we're doing right now is we're ready to introduce, for our closing remarks and NYULYP announcements, President Eunice McCoy. President McCoy, take it away.
Bye, everybody.